All right, Angela, it's in the rearview mirror, but now a few days on, what are your lasting images of the coronation?
My lasting images are being very human and being accessible and allowing yourself to be emotional. I think you rarely see a king who is emotional, but King Charles was very involved in the whole thing, and you could tell that it was overwhelming for him at some points. I think he is a religious man, and I think the whole way it was done. And of course, when Prince William, now heir to the throne, came up and touched his crown and then kissed him on his left cheek, and he said, "Thank you, William." Oh, gosh, I wanted to cry. Whereas the rascal was sitting away from his brother and behaving like a silly teenager, really. I think he was very, very uncomfortable. I think he felt very strange that he was there by himself and, rushing off immediately without even having the time to say congratulations to his father and his brother is, no, just hopeless, really.
Yeah, you could almost hear in the Abbey his feet dragging because clearly didn't want to be there, was there for the shortest period of time he possibly could. But I've got to say, well done to the seat planners because sitting behind the feather on the top of Anne's head was a genius move.
It was hilarious because when Meghan came for the Jubilee or the Queen's funeral, I can't remember which one, there was a big candle in front of her, so the camera couldn't get to too many photos of her. And this time it was a bright red feather, and it was too hilarious, wasn't it? It was just really funny. The other thing that was so lovely was watching William and Catherine's three children. I mean, George did a great job holding the train that went behind his grandfather. And at first he was all quite hunched, like, and then he suddenly remembered he had to be upright and strong and look sort of soldier-like. And he was very good. And Charlotte, of course, Princess Charlotte, is absolutely got our eye on everything, telling her brothers what to do, looking like that and sort of saying, move here, do this, and looking stunning as a mini mother, just sort of look about her. And then Louis, who was very well behaved in the cathedral, extremely well, because it must be deeply boring for somebody who's just turned 5 to sit there very quietly and listen. And he got a bit jolly afterwards, but I thought they were gorgeous. And I think as well that it helps with the feeling that the monarchy will continue despite everybody being concerned about it, and some people trying desperately hard to smash it up, including Harry and Meghan, I'm afraid. But you see King Charles, and you see a tremendously feeling, hardworking Prince William, and then you see the sweetness of Prince George, and that's enough to see and feel comfortable. Because we in London, we in the UK, we really need a monarchy. We love them. We feel happier with them.
Well, also, I couldn't help but think, I mean, the loneliness of Harry was obvious, but I think the message that was very clear for him physically and then for everyone else watching is they don't need him. It doesn't matter. He's decided to exorcise himself from the family, but it's a family that steps up at big occasions, that shows emotion in front of the world, like, as you say, William kissing his father after touching the crown. It's all up to him how he comes slithering back to them. But the point is, they don't need him anymore.
Yes, it's very interesting, isn't it? There was no booing, no cheering, nothing. They couldn't. Nobody sort of cared whether he was there or he wasn't. But it's his own doing, and I think he feels that the nastier he gets and the more he demands, eventually they will give in to him. But actually, it's completely the other way around. They're not answering him. They're not apologizing for all the rude things that he said about them. They're not sitting down with 300 things that he feels very badly about that he remembers when he was 4 and onwards. They just think it's just, I think the whole world, well, apart from groups that are still sort of fancy the two of them. We don't care if he doesn't come back anymore. We're managing, we're fine. But what I felt was shocking was that Meghan, who I understand she doesn't like the royal family, she doesn't get on with them, she didn't fit into the way it works. But I would have thought that Harry, who is very sensitive, or despite the way he behaves, his mental health issues, it must have been difficult. And she didn't put her own feelings away and came with him just to support him. I didn't want her to be there, but when I saw Harry walk in all alone, his cousins all had a partner and they had comfort and somebody else was there with them. And he was all alone. And I think that was part of the fact he was going, hello, how are you? And, jogging along and just very, very self conscious. But why can't a wife who really cares about her husband drop everything and is there for them when they're needed? Families can be very difficult, but sometimes you have to swallow what you think. They weren't talking to everyone. You could just sit there for 2 hours and then off you go. I thought it was heartless, really.